And in this video I'm reviewing part 2 of the Three Flavours Cornetto trilogy, Hot Fuzz. This was released in 2007, directed by Edgar Wright and written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. So grab your cornetto, get a glass of cranberry juice, and join me as we head to Sanford, Gloucestershire. So the story follows Nicholas Angel on his transfer to the countryside to become a sergeant in the police force. He moves to the quaint village of Sanford, where all seems well, but there is a murderous secret in the village. As soon as he gets to the village, he discovers that there is hardly any crimes committed, but a large amount of accidents that are happening. The first accidental murder that occurs is the lead actors of Romeo and Juliet, who were killed on screen by an axeman in a hood. It's then made to look like an accident and they're decapitated at the side of the road. Now the whole village accepts that as an accident, apart from Sergeant Angel, who is quite sceptical that this was an accident, looks to dig a bit further to find out what actually happened. The next accident occurs when Sergeant Angel and Danny are drinking in a pub and they come across a wealthy businessman, George Merchant, who was quite drunk in the pub. When they walk him home, you see him being bludgeoned in his house and his mansion is blown up to make it look like a gas leak that he tried to make a fry up whilst drunk. Nicholas puts these two together and is confronted by the town's reporter Tim Messenger, who says he may have further information on it and is looking to meet up with him to discuss this. Before he can do this though, he is killed horrifically by the church spire falling on him. Again, this is seen as an accident that has happened, however Angel is very cautious and doesn't believe it's an accident. At this point, Inspector Butterman cordons off the church and it is treated as a crime scene that a murder has happened. Nicholas then gets talking to Leslie Tiller, the town florist, who is planning to sell her land that she owns to partners of George Merchant. She's then murdered by some shears in her throat. Sergeant Angel tries to capture the killer but is unsuccessful. He's not believed back at the station when he goes to arrest Simon Skinner, who he believes is the suspect, as Leslie Tiller mentions that they are cousins. He was the killer, but having found no evidence, he's unable to arrest him. He also has alibis on the CCTV and many people saw him that day. So later that evening, one of Skinner's employees is sent to the hotel to kill Nicholas Angel, and it's been made to look like he slipped and broke his neck in the bathroom. He manages to ward off the killer and knock him out with his Japanese peace lily whilst distracting him with the monkey that he'd won Danny in the shooting stall. He discovers that the Neighbourhood Watch Alliance are having a secret meeting at the castle, where he discovers the murderers were done in order just to win the Village of the Year award. The actors were murdered because they were just terrible actors, and there were better actors in the Neighbourhood Watch Alliance who could have replaced them. George Merchant was killed because his house was ugly and didn't fit in with the village's natural rustic aesthetic. Tim Messenger was killed because of the mistakes he was making in the paper, and that they felt that it wasn't fitting and put the village into disrepute. And Leslie Tiller was killed because They were worried if she moved from Sanford she would take her horticultural skills to another village, and they couldn't have that. It's then discovered that Frank Bottom is actually the leader of the group, and he's doing this because of his wife tragically committing suicide the day before the judges were to announce the Village of the Year. A group of travellers arrived on site and spoilt the chances that year, and ever since then he's been obsessed with making sure Sanford wins Village of the Year. Angel attempts to flee but falls through the castle catacombs and discovers all the dead bodies of the people that have been murdered by the Neighbourhood Watch Alliance, or NWA for short. There's the youths that Angel arrested earlier, the shoplifter from the supermarket, and he finds Sergeant Popplewell, the person who he replaced, his body also there, and there's caravans of the travellers that were presumably the people who made Butterman's wife commit suicide, and also the mime artist who was mentioned at the beginning of the film as well. So Angel is surrounded at this point, and Danny appears, and it looks like he is stabbed by Danny. However, he's done the ketchup trick that he showed him earlier, because he placed his pocketbook in his pocket earlier and stabbed him through the pocketbook and used the packet of ketchup to simulate blood. He places him in the boot of his car and drives him to the outskirts of the village. At this point, Sergeant Angel's trying to persuade Danny to join him to help him bring them down, but he's just trying to persuade Angel to leave, so that he'll only make it disappear. And at this point he persuades Sergeant Angel to leave. Angel does return the next day and gathers all the confiscated weapons. With Danny's help and the rest of the police team, they take out the members of the Neighbourhood Watch Alliance and have a final showdown with Skinner and Butterman in the model village. Skinner ends up being impaled on a church spire through the chin, which looks extremely painful. And Inspector Butterman seems to have escaped in a car, as Danny is unable to shoot his father like in the film Point Break. However, the Swan is in the back of the car and it ends up attacking Butterman and makes him crash the car. So back at the station, when they're filling in the paperwork for all the arrests, the leader of the NWA comes in, as they did forget about him, and he was in the the CCTV room. He fires a blunderbuss at Sergeant Angel, but Danny dives in the way, and at this point as well he inadvertently sets off the sea mine in the police station that blows up the station, killing him. The rest of the crew survive, and at the end it's shown that Danny also survived the shot, and a few months later the station has been rebuilt and Angel has been promoted to Inspector with Danny as Sergeant. The film ends at this point with them being radioed that there's a disturbance at the supermarket, and they turn on the lights and they speed off. So as well as the lead cast, we do see a return of a lot of actors from Shaun of the Dead. Bill Nye, Rafe Spall, Martin Freeman, and Julie Deacon, who had cameos in Shaun of the Dead, return in Hot Fuzz. Also Patricia Franklin has a larger part in this film as well. It's a fun fact as well, there's quite a few cameos in this film as well by famous people. The man dressed up as Santa Claus who stabs Angel at the beginning is actually Peter Jackson, director and writer of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and Sergeant Angel's ex-girlfriend in the hazmat suit and mask is actually Cate Blanchett, who is a famous actor who played Galadriel in Lord of the Rings as well. So the filming took place in Wells, Somerset, which is Edgar Wright's hometown, and the supermarket that is shown in the film, he actually did work in there when he was younger. This is also based on a short film that Edgar Wright did when he was younger called Dead Wright, and the supermarket is also used in that film as well. There's a few Shaun of the Dead references in this film as well, taken over in this film. The cornetto scene.
You want anything from the shop? Cornetto.
This one is a role reversal with Danny saying it to Angel rather than the other way around in Shaun of the Dead. There's also the fence jump.
What's the matter, Danny? You never taken a shortcut before?
So when they're in the supermarket, Danny's looking for a bargain bin DVDs, and he comes across a DVD that has the Shaun of the Dead picture on, with a change to Zombie Party. I also love the Wicker Man style to the film, how Sergeant Angel enters the village as a righteous, authoritative policeman, and it's really good how Edward Woodward is in the film as well, which gives it that kind of the nostalgia feel, as well as he was the original policeman in The Wicker Man as well. I remember watching this film for the first time at Download Festival 2007. For some reason I didn't see it at the cinema. I don't remember why, because I saw all the other ones there. But I'm glad I did see it for the first time at Download. It was such a good experience. I remember Shaun of the Dead was on the Friday night, and then Hot Fuzz was premiered on the Saturday night. I just remember like some bits, like the cornetto scene got a really big cheer, the jump over the fence, and when he, at the end, when he drop kicks the old woman in the face, that got like the biggest cheer, and it was such an amazing like experience to watch. Like, sat in the field at like about 11:30 at night, with loads of random people, really drunk as well. It was such a really good experience to do it like that. I remember watching it and thinking, this is just like Bad Boys but set in a rural village, and apparently that's what Edgar Wright wanted. He did it in his earlier film Dead Wright. He was wanting to do like a gangster Hollywood blockbuster set in a rural village, and it works really well, and it's just so fun to watch something of a really big scale in such like a small village. The supporting actors are great in it as well. I mean, Timothy Dalton, I think this is one of his best performances that I've seen him in. Also, Olivia Colman's great as usual. She's fantastic. She's a fantastic actor, and really funny as well, of the part that she plays. I think Rafe Spall and Paddy Considine, sorry if I've said that wrong, but they work off each other really well, and it's just a really good dynamic between all of the supporting actors in the film. It works really well, and even like the baddies as well, they get what they deserve, and it's a really good feeling at the end when you know that they've all been brought to justice. So again, this film is just still really fun to watch. I almost watch it about twice a year, and I enjoy it every time I watch it. And for that reason, I'm going to give this 9 out of 10. Okay, so that's it from me for now. I hope you enjoyed the video and got something out of it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want. If you didn't like it, then jog on. Only joking. Join me next time when I'll be reviewing part 3 and the final movie of the Cornetto trilogy, The World's End. I hope to see you then. I hope you're all doing good in lockdown, and I hope to see you soon after lockdown. But until then, see you soon. Bye bye.